Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have another fun fold card idea I want to share with you. So we're going to continue on this gatefold style theme, except for this time we are going to create a little front panel, and this gatefold card is just going to have like a surprise on the inside. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have two different card ideas I want to share with you that feature this little surprise gatefold card. So it's still a Z-fold style gatefold card, but it has this large panel on the front. And it opens up to a fun little design on the inside. Of course, it stands for display, but it's just another way that you can use that gatefold style design in your card making. Now, the cards in this video feature the Amber Autumn stamp set from Stampin Up, and I combined that stamp set with the Autumn Trees dies. So both of these stamp sets are actually part of a suite of products called Autumn Toile, and that's actually where I got this particular designer paper. Now, you can use any stamp set or supplies you have on hand to create this fun fold design. Okay, so first let's talk about how to create the base of the card. So there's three different pieces actually that we're going to create that creates the base of this fun fold card. So we're going to create the Z-fold style gatefold section first. So for that, you will need a 5.5 by 8 inch piece of cardstock. And so we're going to score this. We're going to score that 8-inch side at 1.5, 2 3/4, 5 1/4, and 6.5 inches. So that will create that Z-fold style design. So let's just fold on these score lines just to give you an idea. So you have kind of this Z-fold style design here for your gatefold. The next thing you want to do is just cut a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock, same color. And this Z-fold section is going to get adhered to this little card base. This is going to become your card base, and this will be your interactive fun fold section. And then the last piece that you need is a 3.5 by 5.5 inch piece, and this will become the front panel for the card. So now I'm going to show you how to put all this together. Okay, so let's recap what we have here. So this is actually the base of our card. This is the 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece. This is our fun fold section. So this piece is actually going to get adhered right down the middle of this card base. And then this is going to be our front panel for the card. So we're going to start with this card base. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to cut 2 pieces of pattern paper, which are 1 by 5 1/4 inches. So you want to add these pieces first, and you're going to add 1 on each side. And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to add this right in the center here. So you want to kind of keep this together, and you want to add it in the center so that you have some even space on each side. So this is probably the trickiest part, just keeping all this together. I recommend that you use liquid glue so that you can scoot everything around. But we're going to line up our card at the bottom here. And let's just pick this up real quick and make sure everything is flush. All right, so that is what your fun fold will look like. So it's basically just adhered to that 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock. All right, so now let's add some more designer paper before we add this front flap. So we'll set that to the side here. So for the inside of my card, I have 2 more pieces of that pattern paper that I used on the back side here. So these pieces are 1 by 5 1/4 inches, and we're just going to put 1 on each side. And then I have a 1 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of embossed, very vanilla cardstock, and that's going to go on this outside panel here. And since we're on the inside of the card, we might as well finish decorating the inside. So I just have a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of very vanilla cardstock, and this is going to go on the inside here. So that's going to be your basic design. You're not going to put anything on here because we are going to adhere this piece to this little flap. So I'm going to go ahead and add this little element, and then we'll work on that front panel. So this I just created from the Autumn Trees bundle, and it's 2 1/4 inches long, and I'm using it to decorate the bottom of the card on the inside. So this will be the same kind of design I'm going to use on the front, so I just decided to use it on the inside as well. So that's your basic design for the inside. So let's set this aside for the moment, and let's focus on decorating this piece. This is the 3 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch piece. And so we're just going to add a few things to this piece. So I have a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of pattern paper. And I just have a 3 1/4 by 1 inch piece of embossed vanilla cardstock. I just kind of wanted to break up the front of this designer paper a little bit. Then I created the same kind of element that I did for the inside of the card. This we're going to put on the outside of the card. So we'll just pop that up. And then I just created a little greeting just using the Stylish Shapes dies. I just added a little 3/4 by 2 inch piece of early espresso cardstock behind it. And I'm just going to pop this up right on the top part of this front panel. All right, so now that we have our front panel created, let's go ahead and add it to our card base. So you basically want to bring your gatefold card together, and you're going to be adding some glue to this piece. And this is going to be the tricky part. So now you want to line this front panel up so that it looks pretty equal between these two pieces of pattern paper in the background. Line it up and just squish it down and give that glue a chance to set up on that panel. So we only put glue on that left panel, and then that is what it would look like. So you can see on the back, the panel does not go all the way over. There's a little gap there. That's how we want it, because you want this to close and you want it to be equal on each side. All right, so now we can open it. This panel will actually fold and tuck behind. It'll tuck behind here. So you could do all your decorating. You could put your front panel on first and do all your decorating. Either way is fine. I'm just going to add a little piece of pattern paper over here. This is a 1 1/2 by 5 1/4 inch piece. So I'm just going to add that on the side so that when you open the card fully up, then you have that nice little continuation of this pattern paper. So that's really all there is to it. And the card folds flat for mailing, and of course it pops up for display. You could add as many or as few embellishments or pattern paper pieces as you want. So this particular card, I used all the products from the Autumn Toile suite from Stampin' Up. And then I also have this design. So I used a variety of products from the Gathering Together suite. So this was one of the online exclusives. So it's still a autumn theme, but just a little brighter colors and paper. And so of course I did this one a little bit different than I did the other one, but the measurements for creating the base of the card and all the measurements for the pattern paper pieces are the same. And then I just created a different focal point for the front. So you have lots of different opportunities, lots of options for using this fun fold design to create cards for any occasion. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a fun fold design that you can use really to create cards for any occasion. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.